Where's the 50 Jay-Z competition? That's the one I've been waiting for.
I have 3 victims right now who are willing to give testimony about not only what Mr. Carter has done to them, but his wife as well.
I want to say shame on Piers Morgan.
Well, why shame on him and not shame on everybody else?
When you have a platform that people actually consider viable and you invite this, it's almost like the beginning of your end.
As y'all know, Piers thought he was doing something big when he brought Jaguar Wright onto his show. If you're familiar with Jag, you already know she's not scared to blow the lid off the whole industry.
Because I think if a victim comes out against Usher, it'll show how egregious it is. Because if he can be a then anybody can be a.
Well, it looks like 50 Cent thinks Piers might have made the biggest mistake of his career with this one. And you know, 50 knows how Jay and Bay get down. See, Jag came with all the receipts, spilling piping hot tea about the biggest names in the game. But as soon as she started name-dropping Jay-Z and Beyonce, everything changed real quick.
They do nasty things.
What do you think happened with Kim
Keeping people against their will. Putting people on planes.
Next thing you know, Piers is out here bending over backwards, making a public apology to the power couple.
Editing interviews is not something we do lightly at a show called Uncensored. Like the proverbial cries of fire in a crowded theatre, there are legal limits on us too. And we apologise to Jay-Z and Beyonce.
So what really went down between Piers Hov and Queen Bey? Did Piers really think he could have Jag out here airing everyone's dirty laundry and not catch heat? Let's break it down. The streets are saying one of 2 things happened. Either the Carters cut Piers a fat check to zip it, or they hit him with some heavy legal threats. Either way, folks feel like Piers folded like a cheap suit and missed his chance to expose the industry's darkest secrets. Now this is where 50 Cent comes in. Y'all know he's been beefing with Jay and Bay for ages. 50's one of the few who's never been scared to call them out. And when you connect the dots between them, Diddy, and this whole mess, it's starting to look like 50 might have been onto something this whole time. And let's just say 50's not about to let this slide without speaking his piece.
Federal authorities have made clear that Sean Diddy Combs isn't the only one accused of crimes that include bribery, making threats, and they say he had plenty of help.
Jay-Z and 50 Cent have had this long-running, on-again, off-again beef that goes way back. Jay's always had a knack for staying in the headlines and grabbing the spotlight. Ever since he blew up, he's been the talk of the town and the media can't get enough. His life is like a never-ending soap opera with all these wild plot twists, and the people are living for every juicy detail. For the last 20 years, Jay and 50 have been throwing jabs at each other as they both climb to the top of the game. It all started way back in '99 when 50 name-dropped Jay in his track How to Rob, and Jay clapped back on It's Hot, Some Like It Hot with the line, I'm about $1, what the F is 50 cents? Word on the street was Jay was trying to big homie 50, but that backfired real quick. Since then, they've been taking shots at each other left and right as they both blew up, but the beef reached a boiling point when 50 dropped his response track, Be a Gentleman, in 2002. 50 went all the way in, telling Jay to watch his mouth. That song was part of 50's mixtape, Guess Who's Back, and it definitely turned up the heat between these 2 rap giants.
Jay walked in the studio, he said it before, but I'm telling you how impactful it was. He walked in the studio and he was like, yo, this dude 50, y'all gonna have to deal with him in the next couple months. He said it to the whole crew.
So 50's revelations paint a pretty grim picture of Jay-Z, suggesting he's willing to play dirty to get to the top. And honestly, considering Jay's track record, it's not that far-fetched. He's been tied to some shady dealings that go way beyond just cutthroat business moves. Ironically, even though 50 Cent is one of the best-selling rappers of all time, he's never won a Grammy. 50's been vocal about feeling like the game's been rigged against him from jump, and he's definitely thrown some side-eye at Jay, who's sitting pretty with 24 Grammy wins. Word is, 50 thinks Jay's pull and connections might have something to do with him getting snubbed so many times.
The content is similar to what I would do. They didn't recognize mine. They gave me Grammys when I was with him, when I'm on records with him and him. Other than that.
As 50 navigated the industry, he felt like certain artists were getting preferential treatment. He believed Jay-Z's success overshadowed his own accomplishments, fueling the rivalry between them. Despite Jay racking up Grammys, 50 remained focused on his grind and kept speaking out about the flaws and biases in the system. He continued to challenge the status quo and carved out his own lane. 50 said, I don't see them actually want to accomplish having enough you know what's F cool around you. The history between Jay and 50 is complicated, to say the least. Even now, 50 seems to have some unresolved feelings toward Hav. But he also recognizes that the root of their issues might not rest solely on Jay's shoulders. Despite their differences, 50 seems to think the real source of the tension is still a mystery, maybe even to Jay himself.
What is the issue? You see what I'm saying? Like, and I, with M, because like with Nori he had communication. He said, yeah, I talked to the big homie. You said.
In contrast to all the drama between Jay and 50, last year's Super Bowl halftime show was a star-studded celebration of hip-hop. 50 hit the stage with some of his fellow rap legends like Eminem, Snoop Dogg, and Kendrick Lamar. Mary J. Blige also blessed the stage, adding to the electrifying vibe of the whole performance.
It was big. Like look, Dre, that's Dre too. You see what I'm saying? It's Dre and really M, because he wouldn't do it without me.
But in a recent Big Boy interview, 50 dropped some gems about what's been going down behind the scenes. Even though 50 and Jay have both built hip-hop empires, they've never been tight like that. 50 hinted that Jay might have intentionally left him out of the Super Bowl commercial that year. This revelation shed light on the complex dynamics between these two moguls. 50 said, "I got the call before the Pepsi ad went up. I wasn't in the ad because of Jay-Z and them putting it together." When asked if he thought the snub was intentional, 50 replied, "I think that they were saying that the NFL had some issues with me. I don't know what those issues are. You see what I'm saying?" Then he threw some shade at Hav, joking, "You imagine yourself after a gay painter? Big homie, wanna look like a gay painter?" For context, Jay signed a multi-year partnership with the NFL back in 2019 to oversee the halftime show. And if you've been paying attention, you've probably noticed Jay, Bey, and Diddy rolling together a lot. The rapper DaBaby spilled the tea about meeting Beyonce at one of Diddy's infamous parties.
Beyonce, I was at a party at Diddy crib in LA. This was the beginning of 2020.
That got people speculating. If Bey was at Diddy's party, could she be one of his alleged accomplices? One person wrote, 50 been trying to tell us about Diddy. People love Jay and B so much they are going to skip over the fact they are always at Diddy parties, when everybody knows what a Diddy party is. So what does that say about them? But recently, Jaguar Wright had the internet shook when she aired out some wild allegations about the power couple on Piers Morgan's show. Now, Jag might be a smaller fish in the industry pond, but that just makes her an easier target. It's not like Sis is new to drama or even run-ins with the law. She's always been a bit of a loose cannon, ready to go after the big dogs even if it puts a bullseye on her back. You have to respect her fearlessness, but it does make you wonder if she's being a little reckless out here. Still, Jag's not the only one bold enough to take shots at her industry peers. But then, just like that, Piers comes out with this sudden apology. Like, huh? An apology right after such a viral moment? Make it make sense.
Editing interviews is not something we do lightly at a show called Uncensored. Like the proverbial cries of fire in a crowded theatre, there are legal limits on us too. And we apologise to Jay-Z and Beyonce.
The word on the curb is it wasn't just Piers having a change of heart. Insiders are whispering that Jay and Bey might have been pulling strings behind the scenes to do some damage control. Some even think the power couple sicked their legal team on Piers, threatening to bury him if he didn't shut it down ASAP. I mean, are we really surprised? These two have a rep for getting what they want, and they're not shy about flexing their muscle to protect their image. Rumors are swirling that as soon as Jag made those explosive claims, calls started flying to media outlets with a clear message: take this down or else. There's even talk that network execs and journalists are shook, worrying they could be next on the Carter's hit list if they dare to keep covering these accusations.
So he had a guest on his show, and that guest made some claims against Jay-Z, and even he ended up having to apologize to Beyonce as well, too.
And get this, apparently some folks who've worked closely with Jay and Bey are starting to spill their own tea, hinting there's way more dirt to dig up here. This could be the start of a massive cover-up operation. More people might be gearing up to come forward with their stories. It makes you wonder about Piers. Did he really apologize out of the goodness of his heart, or was it a calculated move to save his own neck? One thing's for sure, never underestimate the lengths Jay and Bey will go to keep their empire intact. With all eyes on them now, Jag's bombshells could crack the very foundation of the narrative they've so carefully crafted. As more voices join the chorus, the public can't help but speculate how many skeletons are still rattling around around in their closet. Just days after Jag's interview blew up, Piers found himself in the hot seat. He hopped on camera to issue a groveling apology on behalf of his whole company. Piers admitted they should have fact-checked Jag's wild claims before putting them out there. He said, Jaguar Wright unexpectedly made several serious allegations about Jay-Z and Beyonce during that interview. As I said in the moment, they were not present to respond or defend themselves. But now they have their lawyers contacted us to say that those claims were totally false and have no basis in fact. This whole fiasco just goes to show how far the Carters' influence reaches. Even a big-time journalist like Piers Morgan is out here jumping through hoops to apologize when their names come up. It's a clear warning shot. Come for Jay and Bey, and you better be ready to do some serious backpedaling. As this drama keeps unfolding, one thing's clear. Nobody wants the smoke with this power couple, especially when they've got a legal team ready to pounce at a moment's notice. There's no public connection between Jag and Beyonce, but that's not stopping Jag from claiming she's got all the tea on Queen Bey's personal life. It's giving major clout chasing, like she's desperate to insert herself into their world. During her explosive sit-down with Piers, Jag was going all the way in. She played up her history with Hav and made some bold claims that had his lawyers seeing red. Piers pointed out how Jay's been radio silent since the Diddy scandal broke and asked Jag why she thinks that is. Homegirl did not mince words. She said after Diddy's arrest and her big reveal, Jay won't have any choice but to clap back.
They're a nasty little couple.
Jay-Z.
They do nasty things.
What do you think happened with Kim
Keeping
Porter?
people against their will.
But Jag wasn't just talking about a little PR statement. When she said respond, she meant full-on media martial law. According to Jag, Jay and Bey have a long history of silencing anyone who steps out of line. Let's keep it real. If the rumors are true, and they're out here torpedoing careers and blacklisting artists, what's stopping them from strong-arming media outlets too? The streets are already talking about Piers Morgan getting threatened to scrub that Jag interview from existence. Think about it. Piers' sudden flip-flop was a little too convenient, wasn't it?
Like coverage that different outlets are doing on the Diddy accusations, right?
Right.
He says these people have platforms with or without shows like mine. I will just say though, like I know now because anybody can get on TikTok, YouTube, wherever.
It's looking more and more like Piers played himself. He had a golden opportunity to blow the lid off the industry's dirtiest secrets, but he punked out when the pressure was on. Now his credibility is shot and folks are already placing bets this could be the beginning of the end for him. With 50 Cent jumping in the ring now, and we all know 50's never been scared to come for Jay and Bey, it's about to get real messy for Piers. Well, that's all I got for now, but trust, I'll be keeping my ear to these streets, waiting for the next bomb to drop. Make sure you're subscribed and got those notifications on lock so you don't miss an update. This is Hot Gossip signing off for now, but I'll be back with the latest, hottest tea as soon as it hits my desk. Stay tuned, loves, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now. The next one.